Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Wow, what a counterpunch. That is exactly what you need to do with the fake news media, and it's why I keep singing praise to people like Ron DeSantis. And of course, now we have Kari Lake. Whenever the media tries to drum up some sort of controversy, some sort of bogus story, you gotta be talented enough, you gotta be skilled enough to flip it around, counter, and turn it into an advantage. Never feed into the narrative, never give in to the fake news in their despicable ways, but rather just call them out for the politically biased hacks that they are. Well, folks, Kari Lake's campaign here has been a master class on how to do exactly that. She is an absolute firebrand. She is not somebody to mess around with. And I honestly don't know why these left-wing outlets and CNN continue to try. All you fake news hacks continue to do is make her more popular, continue to rise her political stock. It's happening again, folks, as Kari Lake smacks down another fake news narrative. Let's just say this poor little CNN journalist hack wasn't prepared for some Kari Lake action. Let me show you guys exactly what happened in this massive viral moment that everyone's talking about, and then let's basically discuss why this whole thing is complete bogus, garbage, nonsense. We've got some stuff to get into, friends, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with a little bit of a backstory here. What's the context? Well, there was an event where Katie Hobbs' campaign office was broken into and burglarized, and immediately jumping the gun, Katie Hobbs suggested that this event only happened because Kari Lake's continued extreme rhetoric is being viewed by extremist Republicans as a call to action against Katie Hobbs. An absolutely ridiculous notion, especially now because the individual was arrested. As you guys can see right over here, a man named Daniel Mota dos Reis, who's supposedly an unemployed CPA who moved here from Europe. The internet has already gone through his entire social media existence, and there is no suggestion, no connection to Kari Lake whatsoever. It seems to possibly be a completely random event. Katie Hobbs tried to politicize it and blame Kari Lake for it, and what did CNN do? Well, they ran with the story instantly and tried to promote that narrative. Well, that might work against some politicians. Against Kari Lake, not so fast.
Kate Sullivan with CNN. So Katie Hobbs' campaign headquarters was broken into earlier this week, and her campaign manager said in a statement she argued that the incident was a direct result of a concerted campaign of lies and intimidation by you and your allies. Do you have a response to that?
That is absolutely absurd. And are you guys buying that? Are you really buying that? This just sounds like a Jussie Smollett part 2. So you're going to drag the American people through something like this? Obviously, you don't want to cover the real story today, which we are 11 points up in the polls, and you want to distract the people with an old story. And I can't believe that she would blame my amazing people or blame me for something like that. I don't even know where her campaign office is. I'm assuming it's in a basement somewhere, because that's where she's been campaigning. And you guys are despicable for falling into that trap. You drag the American people through so many BS stories like the Jussie Smollett, and you're letting a woman who's been running a terrible campaign direct you to a story like this. You know that she's running a bad campaign. She's being attacked by her own party, and she's desperate. And so she's trying to point the finger at me. It's despicable, and it doesn't shock me, because what we've seen from her is probably the worst campaigning in the history of campaigns.
And that is exactly how you get the job done. I'm gonna make the prediction right over here. This is another massive boost for Kari Lake. CNN wanted to make it a story. Well, they did, but it didn't exactly work out the way that they were hoping, I would imagine. A good chunk of Arizona voters are watching this whole thing unfold. They're watching Katie Hobbs try to politicize a random event in a desperate, last-ditch effort to slander Kari Lake. Then they're watching the media try to peddle this BS story, and it's another moment for her to rise to the occasion and absolutely smack down another fake news media narrative. They gave her the ammo that she needed, and already Katie Hobbs is backpedaling on her story.
Hi. What was taken from your campaign office, and do you have reason to believe that this was politically motivated?
I'm not talking.
It's kind of a big deal, though, that your campaign office was broken into.
I think access to safe and legal abortion is kind of a big deal, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Do you have reason to believe it was politically motivated?
We're not going to go beyond the statement at this time.
Once again, these disingenuous leftists implying political motive or trying to associate crimes to politicians with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Well, no longer are the American people falling for it. No longer are people people just accepting the leftist narrative as instant truth. You don't get to be the random victim of a robbery or a burglary and say, oh, well, see, it's Donald Trump's fault. Yet this is what CNN and other outlets did for years with Donald Trump. Every crime, every negative, bad thing that happened in the country during the 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency was instantly politicized and used against him and was somehow his fault. Even all the fake news stories like Jussie Smollett and all the other crap and all the other garbage. And good on Kari Lake for making that connection instantly. She is not to be messed with, and I don't know why the fake news media continues to try. You know, this is how Donald Trump got elected in the first place. With figures like Trump, Ron DeSantis, and Kari Lake, the more you attack them, the more they will absorb that power, that energy, turn it back against you, and continue to rise. That is exactly what we're seeing here, and frankly, that's the sign of a good politician. Somebody who doesn't instantly just feed into the narrative or fall when attacked by these disingenuous hacks, somebody who turns it around and turns it into a good PR moment for themselves. And Kari Lake is doing exactly that. I mean, she is having a field day with this one. Here she is clapping back at the media again.
Fox 10 News, my old employer, wow. They actually did more to protect the criminal in this case. They blurred his face. They protected Katie Hobbs because they're carrying her water. And they defamed me. They put defamatory statements, lies about me. And the reason they did that is because this was the real news yesterday that none of you wanted to cover. We're 11 points up. You're in a frenzied panic because your chosen candidate is not winning. You didn't want to cover this, so you had to run with a completely garbage bullshit story. Shame on each and every one of you. Shame on you.
And here she is trolling Katie Hobbs on Twitter, promoting an equally believable, equally ridiculous story of an incident at her campaign headquarters yesterday. Photographic evidence suggesting it was leftist Katie Hobbs, seen ruffling through our office. The fake news still hasn't covered this, and she posts a picture of her campaign office with the chicken suit man ruffling through her documents. This right here is equally as believable as the other narrative. In other words, total bogus. You just gotta ask yourself a very simple question. What exactly would Kari Lake benefit from sending a random unemployed CPA to burglarize Katie Hobbs' campaign office? What exactly would she benefit being 11 points up in the election, absolutely dominating the election? Why would she ever do something like that being 11 points up? I mean, it makes no sense logically, which makes it even more ridiculous that CNN and other news outlets would run with the story in the first place. But of course, that isn't surprising. They're not in the business of news. They're in the business of demonizing conservatives. You know, Kari Lake asks the question that everyone is asking themselves these days on the conservative side.
Every day I wake up and I just for the heck of it, I check to see what the headlines reach. One of them was the most dangerous politician in the world. And they had my picture and I'm thinking, I'm just a mama bear who's fed up with what's happening and I want to protect my kids. Does that make me dangerous?
Supposedly, us conservatives are these evil, dangerous menaces to society, but in almost every single case, we're just regular people who have slightly different views when it comes to social and fiscal policy. The games that the left-wing media plays are absolutely diabolical and cynical. It's the concept of power corrupts, and the left's lust for power is insatiable. They are willing to do anything, to burn any bridge, to destroy anyone in their pursuit of power, and in the end, it's going to backfire because the people can see right through it, and people are looking at Kari Lake right now and they're sympathizing with her. They're not just jumping onto the media narrative bandwagon. I can pretty much promise you that. And now the last thing that we have to talk about here involving Katie Hobbs and Kari Lake in Arizona is this very weird moment that happened on Fox 10 the other night, where they seem to show an election counter graphic 12 days before the election. Take a look at this.
According to rental site Zumper, the median one-bedroom apartment in the Big Apple goes for more than $3,800 a month. That's well above the national median of roughly $1,400.
Showing Katie Hobbs winning 53% of the vote, even though she's down across the board. Very, very weird to say the least, but I'm not going to go too deep into this. Just another weird moment and seemingly another moment of media bias, where Fox is just setting up their election graphics and election counter stuff ahead of the midterms, and it happens to show Katie Hobbs in the lead by a totally unrealistic amount. I don't know, friends. The media bias is just sick. And I guess God bless people like Kari Lake and people who are fighting against it. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.